here we have Hercules, and we probably shouldn't call him Cream Puff anymore because now he's trotting around beautifully with his new boots on. This is the second time he's worn them in the arena, and as you can see, he's moving forward, he's moving very freely, he's moving very comfortably, which is terrific. And he seems to be, as he goes along, getting more and more to sort of knee action as well, as he learns to trust his boots and learns to understand that his feet aren't going to hurt when they hit the ground. That must be a really good feeling for him. Of course, we don't want to shoe him. I want him to go barefoot, so these boots are just a transitional tool for us to help him move from shoes to, he's probably had his shoes off for quite some time now, but because it's been so wet, his feet are very soft and he was finding this just too hard to cope with. So the boots, I hope, will get him through this transition period, and so his feet toughen up a bit, and then perhaps we can just go completely barefoot, but we'll see. He might keep these. Doesn't look to me like he needs them on the back. The back seems to be going fine. And this is apparently, as Dave said, if you watch the earlier videos about the boots, this is quite common for horses not to need them on the back, just on the front. I'm very pleased with the way he's picked things up. He finds this right side quite difficult, and you'll see, like just here, he tilts his head, he stiffens up a bit. You can see he raises his head and he sort of braces against it a bit with those muscles under his neck. But in general, he's picked it up very well. This horse has only had, well, probably less than 30 minutes work in the last year, and all of those, you know, have been here since he got here, and he's been here for 2 weeks, and probably with everything combined, he's had about 30 minutes work. So this is brilliant. I actually get on him a bit later, just after this. We did, I don't know, about 8 minutes of long lining, and then I had a little ride on him. So he's much better on this side. You can see he's just more relaxed when he's on the left. He just finds that easier. Right there, I'm just sort of pushing him forward a bit. I think I'm asking him to canter now. So I just keep asking, there he goes. I just keep asking him until he does actually canter. I'm not doing this because I think he's ready to canter on the long lines. I actually don't. I just wanted to increase the emotional level a little bit. He was sort of trotting around. I just got the feeling that he sort of got that and he wasn't really paying attention. So I don't actually think he is ready to canter. I want to keep him in trot for a bit longer. But I just thought that would help me to raise the emotional level. And it has. You can see his head's a bit higher, and, you know, he's thinking about it a bit more. Now, that's really typical. He picked up canter again, but he picked up the wrong lead. And what's probably happened there with him, we've got to remember also this is quite a tight circle for a horse that's used to riding in straight lines. So what happened there probably is I had his head a little bit too bent to the inside of the circle. Now, if his head's bent to the inside of the circle, that's going to send his hindquarters out of the circle. So it's going to disengage, in this case, his left hindquarter, which is going to engage his right hindquarter, and so he's going to pick up the right lead behind. And if he picks up the right lead behind, he's most likely to also pick up the right lead in front, which he did, and he went on the wrong lead. I did one day when I brought him into the arena teach him this hips to the fence. We spent about 5 minutes learning to move your hips to the fence. I haven't done it yet before now when I've been sitting on the fence, so that was a pretty good effort from him. I sort of ummed and ahed about this a little bit. You know, should I be getting on him for the first time in here, or should I be getting on him for the first time in the round pen? And I sort of decided, well, he's pretty quiet in here. He's been absolutely fine so far, and I haven't really done any work with him much at all in the round pen because I've been a bit concerned that the sand might be a bit deep for him. So I decided that we'd be all right in here, and indeed we were. So we come back to this move your hip across, have a little kick at me. So I just ignore that. I'm not going to reprimand him for doing that. That kicking at me took a lot more effort than it would to step across, and he's going to work that out. He doesn't need to do that. He wasn't trying to hit me or anything. He was just getting annoyed by the whip. And it does, you know, as you can see, I mean, this horse has been standing in a paddock for a year, I do know that amount. So, you know, if you've got a horse that's standing in a paddock for a year and he's already had really good foundation training, then you're probably pretty right. You know, if he didn't do anything on the long lines, he's probably going to be fine. But this horse, he's raced for 8 years, but he didn't really have foundation training. And we shouldn't assume anything about these horses, these off-the-track horses. We should never assume that they know anything useful at all. Now, what's interesting here is he's really quiet. He responded really well to the whole ride thing. That was great. But I've got a lot less softness, a lot less attention, a lot less everything than I had when I was on the ground with the long lines. And so to me, that's quite interesting. He finds it easier to focus when I'm on the ground. And that's something that, you know, will change with time. I think what happens when you get on the first time is they go, oh, hang on a minute. And so they tense up a little bit. And so it's harder for him to be soft and to give if he's feeling a bit tense. Now this is the right is his bad side, so I'll put him back onto his left. Really, with these first few rides, you just want to keep changing direction. Just keep them moving forward. You know, you don't have to go too fast. I think I have a little trot in here somewhere, but nothing much. And just work on getting them to relax. So pick up pressure and really hold on to that until they come off it and relax. And you can feel the change in this horse's back already when he relaxes. It completely changes what you can feel underneath you. And by teaching them, you know, make sure you do all the give to the bit work before you jump on your off the tracks, because they don't understand it. What they do, and what he did when I first got on, was he stiffened up, tensed all his muscles up, and put his head in the air. And so we've got to say, right, you know, we don't do it like that anymore. Now we do it like this. And what you want all the time is for every short lesson that these horses have, you want it to be successful for them. So the give to the bit is great because you can just see me patting him there. Every time he softens and relaxes, I praise him and I pat him, and that releases the rein and it tells him he's brilliant. And, you know, you get off after a 5-minute ride and the horse thinks, oh, I'm a bit of a genius actually. Whereas, you know, before they were doing track work and going to the races and all of that sort of thing. And really, you know, they're never really told they've done anything right at all. They're pushed around from pillar to post, but they're never really, no one ever really involves them in the learning process or teaches them terribly much at all. You know, they're whacked on the neck when they run a good race, but I don't really think they think that's wonderful either. So now, you know, I'm telling him he's brilliant all the time. I'm talking to him. We're doing this together. And everything is important. So every time I pick up pressure, I want that to mean something. I don't ever want to just ride a straight line with him. Now I'm going to ask him to trot here. So what I'm doing is I'm just clucking at him mostly just using my voice and going until he actually trots. So I just keep clucking at him, and now he's walking a bit faster. That's good. And there he goes, and he trots. And then I'm silent. After he trots, I don't say anything. And I'm going to let him make the mistake of coming back to walk if he wants to, and that's absolutely fine at the moment. I just wanted to have a little trot to see how he would take that, and he's actually just perfect, which is good. You will see his head comes up a little more again. Like his head was lower, he was more relaxed in walk. Once again, you know, when you go up a pace, it raises the emotional level, so it makes it a little bit more difficult for him. So he's got to relearn a little bit. But this is fine. I don't want to do terribly small circles with a horse that's just off the track and he has got an injury that is that we're looking after. So, you know, I want to do as large a circle as possible. You can see I am using the whole sort of 20 metres of the arena at this stage, just so we build him up and make sure that he's all right. I don't want to put too much stress on his joints. But I was thrilled with that. I mean, that was a fantastic, quiet, lovely first ride for a horse that's now 10 years old and has been off the track for a year and was a stallion before that. So that, I mean, it's just fabulous. Couldn't be more happy.